let's queer up politics. Goodbye to Ron DeSantis, for the moment. While it's disturbing enough that former president and insurrection leader Donald Trump would win anything, including the Iowa caucuses, the silver lining is that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis lost. He finished 30 points behind Trump and barely ahead of Nikki Haley. The second place finish means he likely won't drop out of the race before next week's New Hampshire primary. But his cash burn rate is unsustainable. Despite spending $45 million in Iowa and getting endorsements from top conservatives, he only scored 23,420 votes. So you divide 45 million by 23,420. That means he spent $2,000 for each person who bothered to show up and vote for him. DeSantis and Haley are staying in the race, and it only postpones the inevitable. Trump scored the highest margin of victory in the caucus' history. At some point, DeSantis will have to return to Florida with his ego bruised and tail between his legs. But even here, DeSantis is damaged goods. Last night, both of Florida's senators, Marco Rubio and Rick Scott, endorsed Trump. Now, DeSantis moves on. If he thought Iowa was cold, he could have frostbite in New Hampshire. I mean, last night's numbers were not a surprise, but in a way they were a surprise. I mean, 30 points ahead. It's clear what's going to happen. It's clear the matchup in November is going to be Biden and it's going to be Trump. But DeSantis coming ahead and surging ahead of Nikki Haley was kind of a surprise. We thought he was going to finish third, but he's got terrible polling in New Hampshire. Turnout was depressed by the weather, so don't read too much into the, not a lot of people turned out or he didn't get as many votes. But it was bitter cold. Iowans, even if they're Republicans, are smart enough to stay home when it's that dangerous outside. So don't read too much into the raw vote totals. But my God, Trump is a steamroller. But while saying that makes me cringe, I also get to say DeSantis is a loser.
Well, especially because Trump didn't even show up. Like, he didn't do anything other than just commercials and spend money there. So it's not like he went knocking on doors. I mean, DeSantis made it a point to go into every district, right? He
county.
went into every county. That's right. Went into every county. So he was really working for it. Now, I'm a little hesitant about what's going to happen next in New Hampshire, because I think he might have a chance there.
DeSantis?
DeSantis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think DeSantis might have a chance there because the population is more urban, better educated, traditionally educated, and that's not Trump's demographic.
No.
So they're going to pick someone else, and I think DeSantis might have a chance.
You think it would be DeSantis over Nikki Haley?
I'm not going to make that call.
Okay.
I'm going to say he might have a chance.
Okay. And by a chance, do you mean to win or to pull within single digits? I mean, how are we?
No, I think he might have a chance to win. I think he might have a chance to win. Trump might struggle. And then maybe not. Maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe Trump will win hands down again.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Well, watch this space. We'll be talking about it next Wednesday on Queer News Tonight. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Right? Eric, what did you take away from last night?
Well, I took away that I do not like anything having to do with the Republican Party. Obviously, that's an overgeneralized statement that I've said on this platform before. And I think it's almost like chef's kiss that if you do the math, that it comes down to $2,000 per vote, because it's kind of like he's just paying to be humiliated. And for me, I love that. That's what I took away.
I just want the $2,000. I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
right? I just want the $2,000.
Right?
But in saying this is for me. Before we move on to you, I with Republican conversation and debate, I always want to kind of be careful in my words, because between Trump and DeSantis, I do believe that there is a lesser of two evils, although disgusting between the two. I do think that Trump is the lesser of two evils, just because Ron DeSantis really, really scares me to the point of like I think he's going to send me to a conversion camp tomorrow. He really frightens me.
See, the thing is, I played that game in 2016.
The lesser of two evils.
Yeah. I was like, oh yes, please nominate Trump, because certainly no one will vote for him to be president. And that came back and bit me on the butt. Speaking of biting me on the butt, Cameron, what do you got to think?
What I've got to think is I'm so tired. Jesus. Like, how many times are we going to hear these, like, oh, he's going to make a fool of himself. He's going to do this. And yet people still love him. Everything's going to go his way, one way or another, whether it's him actually succeeding in this campaign or not, whether it's DeSantis or Trump. What really gets me is, if I, as a professional in any other situation, said, you know what, I'm going to start a fight. I'm going to start yelling, screaming, cussing, and literally berating my professional bosses and everything else, and the people that support me, they wouldn't take me back. Oh, but I want to come back. That's what Trump's doing. And that's kind of my main takeaway. It's not my main focus is DeSantis. It's, the fact that Trump is literally coming back harder and more strong at this point.
Yeah, Trump's never been one for retail politics. I mean, he didn't, and that's what Iowa is. You have to get out. You have to visit all 99 counties. You have to get out there and shake hands. And granted, yes, he did more of this in 2016 when he was first running for the nomination. But he didn't even bother because he is smart enough to know he can't help himself, but he literally cannot help himself by getting on the debate stage with the others, by lending their campaigns any kind of credibility. So from that standpoint, he actually made a good decision. Before we move on, I want to say there was an interesting piece a couple weeks back on the Young Turks webcast, and they sent a reporter to Iowa to ask people if they would rather have Joe Biden for the next 4 years or Trump as a dictator for the next 4 years. And it's just so disturbing to hear them. It's not disheartening. It's disturbing that they are ready to sign on absolutely because it's their dictator that's coming. We've never had a personality cult this high in American politics that I can even think of. Maybe FDR, who won 4 terms. I mean, people had, their the WPA signs, everything. He generated a certain amount of love and till death do us part with the electorate. But that's as close as I can think of. So beware if we're saying he's the lesser of two evils, because, oh my God.
It's just evil. It's all just evil.
Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.